out to the men and women who exemplify the words honor, courage, and commitment. They are the few. They are the proud. They are the United States Marines. Semper Fi, my brothers and sisters. Semper Fi. From the halls of Montezuma to the shores of Tripoli, we fight our country's battles in the air, on land and sea. First to fight for right and freedom, and to keep our honor clean. We are proud to claim the title of United States Marine. Find us always on the job. We're United States Marines. Here's to health and to our core, which we are proud to serve. In many stripes we fought for life and never lost our nerve. If the Army and the Navy ever look on heaven's scenes, they will find the streets are guarded by United States Marines.
Woo! What's up, party people in the house? Party people of the SFL. Happy 245th birthday to the United States Marine Corps. Welcome to episode 41, a very special episode 41 of Axis Live tonight. I'm your host, Dave Axis, and we're going to talk about the SFL minor league games that just took place. We're going to talk about the minor league big boards. We're going to talk about the positional rankings. Cam's going to come up and finish wrapping up those last few teams he missed from the other night. We're going to do all that stuff first thing. We're going to try to knock it out, get it out of the way, so then we can spend the rest of the evening concentrating on the veterans of our great country. Those who put everything on the line for us, not just their lives, but their families, their marriages, their children, their health, their money. I mean, they put everything on the line to serve this amazing nation of ours, to keep you in the chat safe, to keep us safe, to keep everyone safe, and so we can go about, our own lives on a daily basis. So we have a lot to be thankful for today on the Marine Corps birthday and tomorrow on Veterans Day. So let's get to it. Let's see who's in the chat right off the bat so we can get our shout outs out of the way and get this party started. Let's see who wants to party with the military tonight. Let's take a look here. Freddie does. I know Freddie does. I know Wiggy does. Hubba Breezy's in the house. Chris Lee, good to see you. Kendra, nice to see you. Cyber Glyphy. I don't know who you are, but that's a really cool name. My lovely wife, Pink Lisa's here. Bo Martin Jr. as always. Jack Lewis is in the house. Bob Funk, always. Jason France, good to see you, bro. What else we got? Is that Harish? Harish is in there. Tyler Falk. AJ, good to see you. AJ's here. We got a special little treat from her in a little bit. Doug Britton, good to see you. Chucky B. Charles, Johnny, Thomas Smith, Hugo. Hey, Hugo, I think we finally figured out who drafted you. I think it was the military. Hey, yo. Let's see. Kendra Hall already said. Skydog 06, or I don't know what that says. CKY dog? I don't know who you are. Let me know who you are. I think that's about it right now. And then it looks like Ron Cochran just snuck in here at the last second. All right. Let's get this going. We're going to skip all the introductions because that takes time too. We'll introduce people as we go and as we do things. Let me see if Tyler's in the house and ready to rock and roll. Tyler, are you here? Are you out of breath? Has to catch your breath since the game? What's going on?
I think I'm going to go get myself a third cup of tea. Whew, I'm a little bit out of breath here, Dave. No, but I am here. I am here.
Are you ready to rock and roll?
I think so. I think I'm ready.
I know I hate to put you on the spot right at the get-go, but I want to get this bad boy going, you know what I mean? Especially with the late start. So, hey, you know what? Just do what you can do. You know what? People in the chat, they understand we just had the games. They appreciate what you're doing. You know, it's better to have something to
Right.
All right.
So, Bob, fuck yes. Yeah, so maybe I do need a little
you
bit
need
of
a beer,
adult beverage. All right. So I got to call two of the games, as you can see up there. Got to call color commentary alongside the now SFL champion T. Roy Gaines. That was a fun one to call. I was honored to be in the booth alongside him. But it was all Ottawa. I think the final score was 27-6.
Oh wow!
Over Tacoma. It really just shut down Tacoma's attempt. They had a missed field goal there late, so the score could have been 9. But Ottawa just had a fantastic game and made a couple of fantastic catches by their wide receivers, Deuce Fennick, and then. Oh man, I had his name. Oh, Ryan Rudolph. Rudolph flew through the air on a couple of fantastic catches and then made a toe tapper in the end zone. But it was really just Ottawa all day. I didn't get the chance to see a whole lot of the Salt Lake San Jose game, but from what I hear, I got to catch the end of it. It was down to a 4th and goal on the goal line practically, and San Jose was unable to punch it in. On the last play. So again, San Jose loses another heartbreaker, and Salt Lake improves on their season. But for San Jose, I feel for everyone in San Jose. They have such a great team and so many good players, not just on the field, but in the chats as well. And they are the only team now with an O, which leads me to the Birmingham-Madison game. Birmingham is no longer undefeated, and in convincing fashion.
Yeah. The
Madison Lynx, holy cow, 30-10 your final score in that game. Riley Quintero absolutely almost nowhere to be seen, just over 50 yards receiving, which is a far cry from his average. And they only had 6 yards running, not 6 yards in each half, 6 yards in total of forward performance there with the rushing attack. And then the Memphis and Albuquerque game, that one was a defensive slugfest. It was ultimately Memphis who came out on top. I think the final score was 13-6, if I'm not mistaken. But a really good defensive show. If you like old school football, that was your game to watch this week. No dramatic comebacks this week, and it was a very tightly contested ball game throughout. Annapolis has the bye, and they'll be back on the field next week, and Memphis has the bye next week, and we'll talk more about that on Thursday, Dave.
Okay, awesome, Tyler. Thank you for that. Appreciate it, bro. Yes, we were watching some of that Madison Birmingham game. Some of us were doing some testing for the show and we had the game on, and Thomas and I were talking how Madison, we think they started off 0-3 or 0-4 last season, and they ended up winning a championship. It looks like maybe they're turning around true to form again this season like they did last season. So let me see here. Let's move on to the minor league, the SFL minor league big boards. We've got Thomas Smith is in the house. He's going to go over his big board, and then after him, Mike Twinscrew will come on to go over his positional ranking. So, Thomas, are you here? Can you hear me? And are you ready to go?
Yep, all good, Dave.
All right, knock yourself out.
All right, good evening to everybody, and welcome in. Just wanted to start out with a shout out to Jonell Ritter, linebacker. Just wanted to say I saw you in the chats earlier today, and I wanted to give a little statement on this as well. Jonell Ritter tagged me and said, "Hey, I appreciate the 4th round grade, but I haven't even played a game yet, so not sure I should have had that high of a ranking. I just want to let him know, let all prospects know. It's not the games you play, it's not the stats you get that affect where you're ranked at. If you're active in the chats, I'm going to see that. Other teams are going to see that, and that's what's going to get you ranked higher. So while it's important to make sure you have a good build, and performing well in the games is definitely going to help your character a little bit. It's what's off the field that's really going to help your stock more than anything. So I just wanted to, again, shout out Jonelle Ritter. I see you active in the chats, and that's why I got you already on a 4th-round grade despite you joining in the last week. Some other guys I want to shout out, again, my number 1 prospect, Mr. Mike Ryan, the player of Tyler Falk, the well-known Axis Live commentator here, the SFL commentator. So I just want to shout him out. 2nd straight week as the number 1 prospect on my board. Give some shout outs to the quarterbacks, Colin Pierce and Christian Brown. These guys are active in the chats. They're helping their teams out. I hear nothing but good things from their teammates. So definitely they're the 2 quarterbacks that I think are going to be off that board quick. Some of the defensive players, guys like Cliff Grizzly, Bernard Smith, strong safety Tom Krieg. There's a lot of good defense in this draft, so teams definitely be reaching out to those guys. These are all guys that I could see going in the top half of the 1st round in this draft. So many big names. At positions that are going to be real needs. Guys like Guy Clausen and Will Todd playing tight end. They're guys that I see doing graphics, doing scouting, things like that. So while we do have about half the prospects we did last year, we've got high quality and we've got a lot of good prospects in this draft. Last but not least, I just again want to give a shout out to the only offensive lineman in this draft class currently, Mr. Greg McDonaldson, with a heavy need for offensive line. He's a guy that we could see go in the top 10 for sure. That's all I got. Dave, back to you.
Okay, awesome. Thank you, Thomas. Appreciate it. Mike Twin Screw, is this like 3 shows in a row, bro? What's going on with you?
I think it's just 2, but we'll make it to 3.
All right. Well, you know what? We'll make the stats up as we go. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, there we go. Hey, what's happening, SFL? Happy birthday to the Marine Corps. Go Navy, beat Army, and the Go Rustlers. Hey, not a lot of change from my last week. As you can see, the ups and downs. There's only a couple that went up, a couple went down, and that's really just based on the activity. Thomas has already named a bunch of the guys that are very active in the chats and things like that. Colin Pierce, Charlie Blitzky, Hubba, Chris Lee, Guy Clausen, Cliff Grizzly. These guys are all very active, and they're pretty much solidifying their draft prospect, their draft pick as we come up into the season 16 draft. What I'm seeing in most of my positional rankings here, about half of the position are the guys that are active or gals that are active. Except for our guy, Jack Lewis. He's all there. He's pretty active. Really not much more to it. These are my positional rankings for the week. And we'll be starting the mock drafts here pretty soon, right after free agency.
Okay. Awesome, Mike. Thank you. And I know as we get going, these are going to become more and more intense. There's going to be more and more changes the closer we get to the draft. You think about this, after the re-signing period, some of this stuff will change due to positions. Then, after free agency, it'll change again. Then we get into the draft. It's going to be all over the place. So those of you that are on here and moving around or whatever, don't fret. It's a long process to go still. Just keep tuning in every week and see where these guys have you and how it's going.
Dave, one more thing real quick.
Yeah, Mike, go ahead.
Hey, don't forget about the guys, the 32 guys that have secondary positions from last year, like you were saying, that are going to slide into this too.
Oh, that's true too. And we don't know how many of those are actually going to take advantage of it or not. So there's so much, still up in the air. You guys just, keep your nose to the grindstone, keep playing your games, keep being, awesome in chat and making yourself known and reaching out to people and talking and get your name out there, and you'll be on these boards and you'll be moving up. It doesn't look like Cam has made it yet, so we're going to skip his portion and go right into our military segment tonight. What we're going to do, let me see, Winkler, are you still here? Yeah, Winkler's still here. Obviously, today is the 245th birthday of the United States Marine Corps. I was a Marine. There is a lot of Marines in the SFL. Today's a huge celebration day for us, and it is, always awesome that we have Veterans Day the very next day to continue the party, for the people who have served this great nation. So in honor of the Marine Corps birthday and Veterans Day, we've asked all of these military guys to come on. Now, we had about 20 that were going to come. It looks like maybe we've got about maybe 15. We're going to talk to every single one of them. So buckle in, get your popcorn, whatever. We're going to talk to these guys. We're going to get to know them. If you already don't, and even if you do, you'll get to know them better. But before we start talking to them, we have a very special presentation. Ashley Jackson was nice enough to record the national anthem for us to begin this segment. So I'm going to play the national anthem. I want Winkler to I'm going to have him pause the chat. So, it's kind of like you're at a ball game or you're at some kind of event and you're standing up and you've got your hat off and, and nobody's talking and you're paying attention to that. So Winkler's going to do the chat and then I'm going to play this and then we'll reactivate the chat after this.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight, oh, the ramparts we watched was so gallantly streaming, and the rocket's red glare, the balls bursting in air, gave proof through the night that our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave for the land of the free and the home of the brave.
Wow. Amazing, Ashley.
Oh, say,
so amazing. I'm playing it again, apparently.
You see?
Sorry about that, guys. Wow, that ending gave me goosebumps. That was really great. Super. I mean, some of those notes, Ashley, just amazing. Gave me goosebumps. Thank you so much. Love the I love that song, and I love the way you sang it. You did amazing. So I can't thank you enough for doing that for this show. What an incredible voice. What an incredible person. Thank you so much, AJ. All right. Before we start talking to these vets, I have one more thing I want to talk to you guys about. All of you know, a couple weeks ago, my wife and I drove to Michigan to speak at a veterans event, and we discussed the topics of veteran homelessness, disabled veterans, and veteran suicide. As any of you remember the show that we had at the beginning of this season, my wife was an ambassador for Objective Zero. She is now the Tennessee State Director for Objective Zero. And in addition to those things that I just mentioned, Objective Zero has a ton of other resources. So I've asked her to, in the spirit of Veterans Day and the Marine Corps birthday, to come on here today and spend just a couple minutes with us talking to you guys to let you know about all these other services that Objective Zero offers. So, Lise, can you hear me, sweetie?
I can.
All right, awesome. So I'm just going to hand it over to you and let you do your thing.
All right, thank you so much. Hey, first of all, happy birthday, Marines. Go Devil Dogs. And for all of you who are veterans in the other branches, happy Veterans Day tomorrow. Thank you so much for your service. Thanks so much for having me on, babe. As you know, Objective Zero is one of the things that I'm really passionate about. It's just the resources available to our veterans, to the current active military and their families and caregivers. So when we originally talked at the beginning of the season, I gave just kind of an overview of what the app does, because that's what it is. It's a mobile app that's designed to give veterans and active duty service members access 24 hours a day from wherever they are to the kind of help that they might need when help is needed. For those of you that are dealing or have dealt with PTSD or any of the other struggles that sometimes returning veterans and service members experience, it doesn't happen between 9 to 5 Monday through Friday. It typically happens, in the middle of the night or over a weekend when something triggers. So having access 24 hours a day is really, really important. But in addition to those sorts of resources, one of the things I want to make sure that everyone's just aware of is that there are so many other things available. So everything from transitioning resources, they have special resources if you're looking for jobs transitioning out of the military, or even if you've been out of the military and you're looking to do something different. There are resources that contract with companies specifically looking to hire veterans. They have places that you can go to help you create and revise your resume to help it fit more in with the civilian world. There are also different aspects of your life that you may find people of like mind. So they have a gaming center, like gaming and coding. They have hunting and fishing. Anything that you might have an interest in or want to be involved in, they have resources for you to get help, but they also have tons of opportunities for you to give help. So if you're ever looking for, or you know someone who's looking for opportunities to get involved, to give back, to support military families, veterans, active duty in any way, the Objective Zero app is a great way to do that. You can follow us on all the major social medias. We're on Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. If you're looking for us on social media, you want to look for Objective Zero app. Objective Zero has a few different meanings in different areas, but if you put the app on the end of it, you'll be able to find us. And again, there's a ton of stuff out there. So even if you're not currently struggling and looking for someone to talk to, I would encourage you to download the app and take a look around at all of the other stuff that's available out there. And then again, even if you just have it on your phone and you know someone who's struggling or looking for help, the ability to show them what it's all about and encourage them to reach out to someone and get the help that they need when they need it is just so critical and so important. So thank you guys so much for giving me a little bit of time on this special show. Again, happy birthday, Marines, and happy Veterans Day to the rest of you. And Babe, I'll turn it back to you.
Thank you, sweetie. Love you.
Love you.
All right. So again, Objective Zero app. If you're watching Twitch, you can tell. You can look at the banner I have up. They've got the light blue and the gray. That's their colors. So if you're on and you're kind of confused, that's another way that you can make sure you find it is by the color scheme. All right, let's get this party started. Here's what happened. So I sent out a bunch of messages to try to get as many military people on the show as possible. I think we ended up with 19 people responded, and then not even all of those could make it. I think we probably have maybe 15 in there, which isn't too bad. I made graphics for everybody who responded and sent me pictures and sent me a little bio. So that's what's going to be playing on the show, but I put it on a loop because I didn't want to have to keep going back and forth about, oh, wait, where's this guy when I talk to him? Or where's this guy when I talk to him, whatever. So there's just going to be the 19 of them or what have you while we talk to them, while we interview them, while they talk. It'll just completely just keep cycling for the whole rest of the show. I was going through all these names, and I wanted to do a little breakdown for you. So we had 19 people respond. 6 of them were Marines, 5 were Navy, 4 were Army, 2 were Air Force, 1 was Coast Guard, and 1 was National Guard. We literally covered everything we could with these responses. So everybody that responded and sent me a military bio and pics for us to make graphics for you, I appreciate it. Thank you for doing it. And I will get this party started right now. I thought I was going to start with Ivory Irvin because he just won the championship. He was a lieutenant in the Navy. And when I asked for his bio, I got like an official document from the Navy. Like I was almost afraid to open it because I thought, they might come knocking at my door or something. But it looks like he's running late or not going to make it. So I think I'm going to start with the one and only Coast Guard person who responded and who also might be the only Coast Guard guy, the Coastie in the SFL. I don't know. The owner of Charleston, Alan, is with us. Alan, welcome to the show, or welcome back to the show. It's been a while.
Hey, thanks, Dave.
Hey, are you the only coastie? Is that what you guys call yourselves? Coasties, right?
Yeah, I mean, I think I am. I haven't had anybody else reach out saying they're from the Coast Guard, so yeah, I believe so.
Okay. When your graphic comes around too, you gotta wait till you read what I put on your graphic. It's hilarious. But give us just kind of a brief overview, if you would. How long were you in the Coast Guard, and what did you do?
Well, I was 24 years old and knew I wanted to make some money to go back to college. So I started looking at different things. I always wanted to do law enforcement, and the Coast Guard actually is part of one of their missions is LE. And so I said, hey, let me go do 4 years in, get some experience, go see, the Caribbean, go see something different than this, city of Chicago. Got in, wanted to be a quartermaster, which is navigation for those unfamiliar with it, or a bosun mate. They made me a fireman apprentice, which is basically working down in main prop, working on the main engines, on a 270 medium endurance cutter. Got my first taste of Coast Guard law enforcement. We did a lot of migrant operations. If you ever look up, and back in 1994, you can look at the Haitian migration. Our boat held the record for 550 on deck at one time, and then another cutter came behind us and beat it with like 560 something.
Wow.
Yeah. That's where I got my first experience with Marines. We actually, from Guantanamo Bay, where we were offloading to, and we brought in Marine Corps security detachment to help us do crowd control on board the cutter, which was sort of fun. Liked hanging out with the jarheads. From the main prop, I basically moved over. They got me out of engineering when they realized I wanted to work up on deck. Started striking quartermaster. From quartermaster, instead of striking, didn't finish. I went to quartermaster school in Yorktown, Virginia. From there, I went to a cutter Fairlawn, which is a 110-foot patrol boat out of Miami, Florida. And just had a blast down there. I mean, the whole District 7, which is the southeast United States, it's lots of migrants, lots of drug activity, a lot of recreational boating safety, fisheries. I mean, the gamut of what the Coast Guard does in LE is down there, and it was probably the best job. It's a patrol boat's a 16-man crew, 2 officers, lieutenant is the captain. The rest are enlisted and tight-knit group. From there, I was tour complete, could have got out, and they said, hey, for reenlistment, if they, what would you reenlist? I'm like, well, what's available? And they offered me this thing called TACLIT North. And TACLIT is Tactical Law Enforcement Team. And those are specialized counter-drug groups that get stationed on naval-borne Navy assets down in the Caribbean or any known drug trafficking area. I'm like, heck yeah. I mean, I joined the Coast Guard, do LE. I want to go do that drug war. So re-enlisted and found myself deploying 200 plus days a year on Navy boats, anything from a cruiser down to frigates.
Right.
While I was on at Tactical Team North, you'll see in the picture, one day we were doing some LE training, and someone came up and they're like, hey, you're 6 foot, right? I'm like, yeah. You got any tattoos? I'm like, no. Went around, you. Okay, you 3, go show up down at Station Portsmouth. So the 3 of us showed up with our LE gear, and you'll see the picture. And we ended up being the models for the Coast Guard G.I. Joe special edition that came out that year.
I saw that. Wait till you see your graphic come around. I put down as one of your bullet points, G.I. Joe cover model.
Yep, so you'll see I'm the guy with the shotgun.
Okay, all right. Gotcha.
So I guess I didn't like my face, so they covered it up.
They're like, can you back up a little bit and put a shotgun in front of your face? That would be perfect. That's hilarious. All right, I'm going to come back to you in a few minutes, but
Sure.
I want to move on to somebody else. Another guy, when we're talking about water, and I hope I have this right. I'm going to go to Jack Lewis. Jack Lewis spent 4 years in the Navy. Jack, tell everybody here. I think you said you were in from 2011 and 2015.
That's right.
Tell everybody what you did exactly. I want to make sure I got it right on the graphic.
So I was a cryptologic technician collection. I worked in intelligence for the National Security Agency.
Okay. Yeah, I had to like chop up the words to fit it all on there. So hopefully that
Yeah.
makes sense now that everybody can see. If you see the graphic and you hear what he said. So tell us a little bit about why you joined the Navy and your experiences there.
I joined because I was not the best student. School just wasn't my thing. So I needed to do something. I worked for a little while after high school. I joined in 2011, the year after high school. I went to boot camp in Great Lakes, and then I went to my A school in Pensacola. After that, I was stationed in Hawaii at Naval Information Operations Command in Hawaii. I worked at the National Security Agency, and went to DC for a little bit, to Fort Meade, and I was in the Middle East for a little bit as well.
Wow, you did a lot in just 4 years.
Yeah, I did.
Wow, that's awesome. All right, well, thank you for your service. I'm going to come back to you as well. I'm going to come around to everybody a couple of times.
Okay.
Next, I want to go. We'll stick with the Navy, and this might be the coolest job that I read about, but I don't know if it's actually cool or if it's just dangerous. But I'm going to ask Eric Hammer. You guys all know Eric Hammer, linebacker for Florida, that beat us in the playoffs. But so Hammer, we got all kinds of rivals. We got rivals in the SFL. You're Navy, I'm Marine. I think it's just going to be rival for you and me from here on out.
You know what? I really am thankful for the Uber, relationship that we have.
I do. Yeah, we're thankful for it too. So tell us about being an underwater mine man.
Yeah, mineman. So, I was active duty for 4 years, and we were stationed on minesweepers over in Bahrain when we were forward deployed. And so we'd fly over there, and we would sail around and practice hunting underwater mines. Once I got out, after I did that for I did 2 tours over in Bahrain. I'm in the reserves now, so now I build them. I build. The Navy has a stockpile of mines that they use that haven't changed in I think about 40 years, but. I build them. I go over to Guam every year and build up these mines and break them down and get to work with 1,000-pound explosives. So pretty fun.
It sounds pretty fun. What about the underwater part though?
Well, the underwater part is just when I tell people I'm a mineman, they initially think that I'm out in the sandbox, digging through the dirt trying to find mines. So I usually typically say underwater mines just because.
Right.
Yeah, I'm building these underwater ones where, I just got back from a trip to Louisiana where I was building up these mines and working with the Air Force, and we put them on their B-52s, and they let me go up in their B-52, and, they took them out, and went and dropped them. So that was pretty cool. But that's probably the underwater part is we go out and drop these things, and we also do a lot of hunting. So, if Iraq or anything like that, or Iran, tend to drop some mines, then, we're ready for that.
Right. Okay. Awesome. Thank you for your service as well. I'm going to come back to you as well. I have at least 2 rounds of questions for everybody, so nobody leave early. You know what? Everybody in the chat. You know what? You guys put in long hours and you go to crazy places on the planet and do a lot of things for us. I'm sure the people in the chat don't mind waiting a little extra a little extra time so we can get through a couple questions with all of you on this special day and this special occasion. I'm going to switch branches. Let's hit up some Army dudes. 2 very, very popular, one way or the other, depending on how you look at it. Army guys in the SFL. First, I'm gonna go to Johnny. Johnny Pickler, quarterback for Louisiana. Everybody knows who he is, but how many people know that he was in the Army and what he did in the Army? So, Johnny, I knew you were an investigator. I knew that part. And I don't see your slide. I was waiting for it to come up. But what was the other thing that you did in the Army? Because that one I didn't know about.
Yeah, I was an intel operative. It was funny when I first went to the recruiter. He signed me up. I chose to be an interrogator, and he mixed up interrogator with integrator. So there you go. There you go. That's the Army guys.
Go Army. Go Army.
And after basic, I got shifted to the wrong advanced, individual training base. So anyway, I had to tell some leaders about it, and they eventually, got me on the right track. But but yeah, so I mean, I went to intelligence school out at Fort Huachuca, Arizona. I ended up spending the majority of my time at Fort Gordon, Georgia, right near Augusta, home of the Masters. It was a good place to learn some golf as well. Went overseas, but I do not have any campaign medals. I was a part of both Operation Iraqi Freedom and Enduring Freedom as part of small missions units. Would go over for small task and then come on back here and there, but was never gone for more than 9 weeks at a time. I spent I'd say what I was most attached to or loved doing was when I found myself with USACIDC, which is the Criminal Investigation Division of the United States Army. So if you watch the show NCIS, I know you Navy guys know that acronym already, but that's based off a real federal criminal investigative service, the Naval Criminal Investigative Service. So it's the FBI, the Navy. CID is the equivalent for the Army. OSI is the Air Forces. So I was an investigator with CID for about two and a half of my 6 years in. I got in at a young age based on a lot of recommendations from high officers, and it was a pretty life-changing experience at a young age. I got in at the minimum age that you had to be at that you could be at 21. I was a part of over 300 federal criminal investigations from rapes to murders to assaults to child pornography investigations to white collar and fraud. Was on a lot of drug and prostitution stings with local law enforcement. Worked side by side. Just did a lot of coupled with the FBI, DEA. Did a lot of interesting stuff down there in Georgia. So that was me, and that's kind of most of what I got out of my time.
Okay. All right. Stick around too, Johnny, and thank you for your service. I'm going to come back to you also in a few minutes. Let's stick with the Army for a minute with another person that everybody already knows, Mr. Arizona Everything, the Hall of Famer, Eddie Gage. Eddie, so you and I messaged back and forth today because I was a little confused about what you did and what you didn't do while you were in the Army. And it sounds like some of it you did it on the side while you were in the Army. Why don't you break all that down for everybody?
What up, though, SFL?
What up, Eddie?
Went into the Army. I enlisted at the age of 17. And at the time, I was not old enough to enlist myself. So my parents had to sign off on me getting in. I remember my mom crying and all that stuff because she didn't want me to go because of what was happening in the world at the time. But I told her, Mom, I'm covered in the blood. I'll be all right. So I get over and I enlisted a 13 Bravo, which is a tank drive of M109 howitzers. And I did my basic and AIT both in Fort Sill, Oklahoma. And 13 weeks, I was allowed to go home on leave for Christmas. And after that, I was shipped over to Baumholder, Germany. And I get there for a few months. And sure enough, that's when Operation Desert Shield kicked off over in Kuwait. So they shipped us over there, and I was there for about maybe 5 months. And I just remember it being just so freaking hot outside. And one day, the announcer came over the loudspeaker, and it says, "It is now 132 degrees, officially the hottest place in the world." I mean, it was just hot over there. I couldn't believe how hot it got outside. And sometime later, I think it's about maybe 5 months in, they called us all into a big room, and this guy, it's like he'd been waiting his whole life to give this speech. He had one of those long sticks standing in front of a board with a map on it, and he slaps the map, and he goes, "Men, some of you guys are going to be heroes. Some of you guys will even win medals. But unfortunately, some of you guys won't be making it back home." And it just got so quiet in there, and it just got real that, it's about to kick off. And sure enough, a couple of days later, as you guys know, Operation Desert Storm kicked off, and it was just nonstop of us shooting rounds down range, and artillery fire was just going off everywhere. You couldn't see, and we're in full MOP 4 gear. It's hot already.
Yep.
And as you guys saw on TV, all of a sudden, sometime later, they just started surrendering by the thousands, and they walking towards us with their guns in the air, trying to surrender, and no one. And some things happened that I really don't want to talk about on the air today. But it was a man, life-changing experience, man. You would see limbs here, and it was crazy, man. The stuff that you see after all that. But anyway, I don't want to get too much into that. It's over, and we go back home. Well, back to Germany, and I remember when the plane landed, I kissed the ground, dude.
Yeah,
I was just
a
so
lot of us did. I remember that. Go ahead.
yeah, just kissed the ground. And I went to McDonald's and I said, I want an American cheeseburger. Make sure you put some American cheese on it. I mean, I was just so happy to be back home, man. It was crazy. I might even shed a tear, man. It was crazy. But so I get back, and once we get settled in, I'm getting kind of bored, and I was one day I was born with a bad case of asthma and bronchitis, and I was looking for ways to, open up my lungs. And my doctor was telling me I should try to get into boxing. And so I did that, but I was intending on fighting. I was just gonna go there and spar and get in shape. And I remember one of the trainers as I was there for a while, he said, "Hey man, you're pretty good with your feet." And he goes, "Did you ever play sports?" I said, "Well, I played football." And he goes, "Hey man, that's pretty cool." He says, "You ever think about fighting?" I said, "Hell no, man. I'm not get hit upside the head for a living. No way. There's no way." But he kept talking to me, and eventually I volunteered and decided to do it. And long story short, I finished my career 17-1, with my last fight being my lone loss. I got a shot to the liver, and that was that.
Oh, ouch.
And yeah, man, it's no joke. But yeah, I had fun doing it, man. It was a pretty cool experience. I wouldn't change it for the world.
I hear you.
But yeah, so I did all that, served my time in there, and went back home and spent my last 2 years in Fort Bragg, North Carolina. And yeah, I mean, I wouldn't trade it for the world. And after my 4 years ended, I ended up doing an additional 4 years as a Army Reserve back in Illinois, and that was that.
Well, thank you for your service, Eddie. Please stick around. I'm going to come back to you as well in a few moments. I'm going to get into a couple retired guys here in a second, but I want to just a little blurb about myself real quick, just because Eddie brought up Desert Storm. I was also in Desert Storm. I can confirm everything Eddie just talked about, being 135 degrees. And then the other part was during the winter, it swung 100 degrees the other way to be about 30, and it's monsoons and it's pouring rain, and we're out there in fighting holes. Now, luckily, I was in Crash Fire Rescue with a really good friend of mine, as you guys know, B. Robo, who is the new assistant general manager for the Louisiana Revolution. I'm going to have him come on here in just a second, but I wanted to let you guys know that everything Eddie's telling you about how miserable it was during Desert Storm in the Middle East, it's all right. It's all true, and I'm sure lots of the other people on here can vouch for that as well. Before I get to the couple of the retired guys, let me bring Robo in real quick. Robo's been one of my best friends for like 30 years now. We were in the Marine Corps together, Crash Fire Rescue, all that. Bruce, talk about being a Marine, talk about Crash Fire Rescue a little bit, but most importantly, talk about how much you loved being my friend and serving with me.
Oh, geez. That sounds like a loaded question. So first I want to say, long-time listener, first-time caller.
Yes, you are, actually. Good call.
Yeah, so first time. But being Dave's friend can be challenging. Even back in 1988 when I first met him, he is the same guy. So, but hanging out in Southern California with Dave and some of the other guys from Crash Crew was some of the best times of my life. I wouldn't change it for a bit. Being a Southern kid from South Carolina, moving to the West Coast, experiencing that kind of life was a new experience. And Dave, you're a big part of that.
Oh, thank you, bro. You are too. And you know what? Piggybacking on that is, think about this. If people didn't join the service, a lot of people wouldn't have the friendships that they have. The fact that I even was able to make friends with somebody 3,000 miles away and become good friends, and over the years, and now I live 2.5 hours from him since I moved to Knoxville, and I get to see him even more. The type of bonds and friendships you build in the military are, I think, the strongest that you can build. Speaking of life-changing events, I don't know how many people know who L. Butler Sr. is. His first name is Leonard. He's a veteran. He's a retired Marine. He did a little Army National Guard time as well, I believe. But, I think he's an offensive guard or offensive tackle for the Louisiana Revolution. Leonard, is that right? You're an offensive lineman for Louisiana?
That's correct.
Okay. So you probably, you don't get the headlines like a Robo or a Pickler or a Streeter. But talk to us and let everybody know about you now. You've got this captive audience here. Talk to them about the Marine Corps, about the way you did 20 something years, right?
Yes, correct.
So just tell everybody about joining, about your experiences about the Marine Corps.
Well, I'm a salty Marine. I'm an old Marine. Before I joined the Corps, I fought a lot. My nickname, coming up as a small kid, they called me Tank. I don't know why, because when I was born into the world, I was 6'2", 255. But other than that, when I joined the Corps, I knew exactly what I wanted to do. I wanted to be in tanks, and I was a little girthy for tanks, and they kept telling me I was 5'9", and I was like, no, I'm 6'2". No, you're 5'9". I'm like, 6'2". In the inductor office, he looked at me, he said, you're 5'9". I'm like, okay, whatever you say, I'm 5'9". But anyway, started training on the M60. I guess I'm dating myself. It's an old vehicle. It was a sweet vehicle. I got bumped up, banged up, scratched up, crushed, whatever you could think of it. But I love the Corps. That's exactly what I wanted to do. I know I wasn't really a technical, but I loved oil and grease and hard knocks. I've been used to hard knocks, and that's what the Corps had to offer me with armor. And then along came the M1A1. Then came the sandbox. Other than that, I wouldn't take anything from my fellow friendship with the brothers that I have. When I first found the SFLm, I found out there was vets in here that I could talk to. I'm pretty much a standoff by myself person. This has really kind of saved my life. Things work in my mind a little stranger than some would do, because I had a traumatic brain injury. I fought through it, still fighting. I forget my way sometimes. I also find my way to try to make other people laugh. I love making people laugh. When I'm in chat, I know I'm not real technical. Like a while ago where you got me lined out where I was supposed to go. I kept popping back somewhere else, and Winkler said, you're back. I'm like, okay. I don't know how I did it, but I got there. But I love the camaraderie of the Corps. I love the time I spent in the Tennessee Army National Guard. That was a lot of fun. I went from driving tanks, being a tank commander, to actually hauling them around here stateside. To let Eddie know, M60 trumped. But anyway, said I love blocking for Johnny. I know I don't get the upside of it, but I am a Marine. I love listening to Gunny talk. He's full of energy.
Yeah.
He's my hero. He's my hero. He is. It keeps me on a level playing. I know I'm a little scattered at times. I appreciate people sticking with me and keeping me motivated. Like I said, you guys, just listening to you guys, seeing you guys, watching you guys in chat, it gave me a great uplift. It gave me.
That's great to hear, Leonard. We all love Gunny, and we love that you're here and part of the SFL. And we thank you for your many, many years of service in the Marine Corps and the Army National Guard. Please stick around as well. I'm going to come back to you again as well, Leonard. Thank you so much.
Okay, thank you, neighbor.
All right. Yeah, that's right. I didn't even know until you sent me your stuff. I didn't know you lived in Tennessee. I didn't even know that.
Yeah.
All right.
I live in Murfreesboro.
Oh, there you go. So you're a couple hours away. Not too shabby. So we're going from maybe an older dog that's retired to somebody who just, and I mean just retired. Everybody knows my twin screw. He just retired at the end of October after 28 years in the Navy. Mike, when you sent me your information, I noticed you joined the Navy the year that Lisa and I got married. And 28 years, even though it doesn't seem like that long with Lisa at all, it seems like it would be an eternity in the Navy. So, first of all, congratulations on your retirement. Thank you for your service. And you had way too much stuff to put on one graphic, so I'm just going to let you talk a little bit about the Navy and your service.
Well, 28 years, my body's saying something else. It was a hell of a long time.
Right. I believe that.
So I enlisted in 92. I was 19, and basically my choice was either be dead or in jail, because that's the path I was on.
Mm-hmm.
So joined the Navy. Navy, by all means, saved my life. Started out basically duty station San Diego twice, up in Chicago, up in Seattle, Memphis twice, and Norfolk. Did 2 amphibs, so I have a ton of love for you guys in the Marines. Love working with you guys. Did 4 deployments with the Marines. Part of that was Somalia right after. You guys have seen Black Hawk Down right after that.
Mm-hmm.
Was at the end of that and did a couple more deployments with the Navy or with the Marine Corps, including in 2002, 2003. You start getting into OIF. Shock and Awe was there for that. And then I did 2 carriers, including the newest one, the Gerald R. Ford, was part of the commissioning crew on that. If anybody's ever kept any track of the, Navy ships, and we were in the news a lot just because it cost so much money to build that thing, and there were so many issues. So the OIF, OEF, Shock and Awe, New Dawn, probably 25 to 30 other small operations, kind of like you guys do in the Marines too.
Right.
You got these little ones that are all over the place. Probably 34 countries or so, somewhere in there, give or take a few. Did an instructor tour. The guys in the Navy will know I was also a detailer and a community manager. Did those jobs. Those are high admin jobs at the Navy's admin office, basically down in Memphis. Made Mass Chief 2018, so I came in as an E1, retired October 31st as an E9. As high as you can go. You guys know.
Yep.
Hey, it was a hell of a ride. I don't miss it yet because I'm ready to go.
Yeah, well, you're too close to it still, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Let me ask you this though and I'm gonna move on, but I'll come back to you again as well. Does it seem like it went by fast, or does it seem like it was forever?
Yeah, looking back, I mean, yesterday I was walking into Great Lakes.
Yeah.
Going to boot camp at least last week. But it went by pretty quick, and it was just a fantastic thing, and I wouldn't change anything for the world.
Yep, I think we all have that same sentiment. Mike, thanks for your service, and I'll come back to you again in a minute. Hey, Gunny, are you with us? Is Gunny around? Anybody hear Gunny? I think I can hear Johnny typing.
Yes, he's here.
Okay.
He came back.
Gunny came back?
Yeah, Gunny came back. He couldn't hear. He had to go backwards again.
Yeah. Oh, okay. No worries at all. I'm going to. I think what I'm going to do is I think I'm going to have you do your pearls of wisdom first, and then as soon as you're done with your pearls of wisdom, I want you to talk about your Marine Corps career. But let's knock out the pearls of wisdom first, and then we'll talk about the Marine Corps and your part of it. How's that sound?
That sounds fine.
All right, you can start whenever you're ready.
Hey, good evening, SFL Nation. Shout out to all our SFL military veterans. A special birthday shout out to my fellow Marines. Hoorah! Thank you to our current active duty soldiers, sailors, airmen, and Marines. A special thanks from Gunny to all his Desert Storm veterans. I was also there in 1991 as a Lance Corporal. Also, some veterans I'd like to give thanks to. We have 3 owners in the SFL. Alan from the Coast Guard, Charles from the Navy, and Mr. Eddie Gage from the Army. So it's good to see all of us are represented by the owners in the SFL Nation. A big shout out because today is the 245th birthday of the Marine Corps. Special shout out to these 11 Marines in the SFL. We have Mark Hurwitz, Chris Porter, Leo Jefferson, Tank Hutt, Thomas Smith, Freddie Trammell, your own Dave Access, myself, Leonard Butler Sr., Digger Graves, Lee Adama, and B.E. Robo. Big shout out and hoorah to all these Marines.
Awesome, Gunny. Thank you very much. So let's turn the focus on you for a minute. You joined the Marine Corps around the same time I did. I got out after only 6 years, but you stuck around for quite a while, 15 I think it was.
Yes.
Tell everybody about your experiences with the Marine Corps.
Well, I will tell Jack Lewis, I went in the same boat he did. I tried college. College didn't agree with me. I the week later, after flunking out of college, I went to the recruiters. Marines seemed to show the most interest in me. Delayed entry program from the end of March until November 1st of 1988. I never wanted to join the military in the first place, so I went the reserve route. Stuck it out for 15 years. Best thing I ever did. Met a whole bunch of great guys. That made it all worthwhile.
Absolutely. Those lifelong friendships are just amazing, like Robo and I talked about a few minutes ago.
Yes.
Gunny, you did you go to Paris Island or did you go to San Diego?
Paris Island.
So you're what we call in the Marine Corps a real Marine. You're not a Hollywood Marine then.
Not a Hollywood Marine. the saying that Marine.
Well, you can imagine which one I am. So
I got you.
I got you. All right, Gunny. Thank you for your service as well. I'm going to come back to you again in just a moment. Did Freddie ever make it on? I want to get Freddie on here. He's not. Let's stick with the whole Lone Star and Marine Corps vibe, and let's get over to Thomas Smith for a minute. Thomas, I haven't. Oh, I was waiting for your graphic to come around. I know you were a Marine, just like myself and Gunny and Freddie and everybody. You don't have to go into a lot of detail, whatever you want to say. You just kind of give an overview of your time in the Marine Corps.
So my time in the Marine Corps started out a little odd. Like Gunny, I was in the delayed entry program for a little bit longer than I wanted to be. I just remember going to that recruiting office. I had been working kind of just crappy jobs for a while, and I wanted something better, wanted to continue a tradition, actually. I got the whole Forrest Gump tradition in my family. I've actually had a family member in every American war since the Civil War.
Wow.
So I'm sitting there thinking, you know what? I'm not going anywhere with these jobs. I may as well look into the military. Ended up getting an 85 on the ASVAB. Did that. I was like, man, I must be pretty smart. And I joined the Marines there, and I don't think that was the smartest decision I made, but I really enjoyed my time in. But I ended up going into that recruiter's office, weighing close to 300 pounds. Just seeing the way he snickered at me, I knew it was going to be a hard trek. Ended up getting me in the delayed entry program. He said, look, we can get you in, but you're going to have to lose a lot of weight. And this was, mind you, this was 3 years after high school. So I got out of high school weighing $185. The 3 years after high school weren't kind to me, getting all the way up to 300 pounds. And then I entered the delayed entry program in, I want to say March of 2011. And I was in the delayed entry program for close to a year. Through that year, I ended up dropping from 300 pounds down to 195.
Wow.
Ended up losing 105 pounds to get into the Marines. I ended up joining. Going out to the West Coast where real Marines are made. We climb mountains. We do the
That's true.
We do the
too.
difficult things.
That is true. We do climb mountains, and they don't climb mountains in Paris Island. That's a great point.
No, all the respect in the world to the guys that go to Paris Island too, because right after I joined, I ended up going to engineer school out at Lejeune, so I got to deal with the bugs right after boot camp and seeing a little bit of what the Paris Island guys go through being there. I served for 5 years. I enjoyed my time in. Got to meet a lot of good people. Got to got to see a lot of cool stuff, and I enjoyed my time in.
That's great. Well, thank you for your service, and if you're able to stick around, I know sometimes you have early mornings. I don't know if tomorrow's one of them, but if you can stick around, I want to come back to you as well. Let's stick with the Lone Star theme for a second. Is Charles still in the house? Or did Charles bug out? Let's see. Nope, Charles is here. All right, the owner of the Lone Star Glory, Charles Doherty, Navy officer. Charles, I think you and I figured out we joined the service in the same year. Is that correct? Was that right or no?
I was commissioned in '87.
Yeah, that's the year I joined the Marine Corps.
Yeah.
Wow. What do you know about that? Okay.
Yeah.
How about that? That seems like forever ago.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay. Well, so that being said, tell the people listening about your Navy career. You were in for how many years?
Real quick,
Yeah.
though, before I jump into me,
Yeah.
you gotta. One of the things Eddie didn't talk about
Yeah.
in his picture tells you how much of a badass he is. You know, you see that picture of him with his squad in the desert, you know, wearing all that gear.
Yeah.
The one thing you don't know in all that heat, he's wearing his running bag suit underneath.
That's where it all started. The running bag in 130-degree heat in the desert. That's amazing. Nice catch there, Charles. Nice catch. All right. So, how many years did you serve?
I did one tour. Got out. I got commissioned in '87. Went up to Surface Warfare School up in Newport. After that, I went to Fairfax County LST 1193, which is a Gator. So I worked a lot with the Marine Corps. Did a couple tours over in the Med. Did a lot of time in the Caribbean, working with the Coast Guard, doing drug ops. I was an amphibious assault boat officer where the AAVs would come off the back of the LST and go on shore, and I would go out there in the boat with with either flags or lights and guide the AAVs in, and they never listened to me. But
no, they just do
I'm
it.
thinking to myself, and I'm out there in the water off the beach. I'm thinking to myself, you know, if I ever had to actually go under fire, you know, they're all going to laugh at me standing in that boat, and they're going to take turns shooting at my ass. So anyway, it was a great experience though. When I was done my tour, I went into the reserves, and the entire time, which was for about another 10 years, I was in naval control of shipping. That was my specialty. When I went out on duty, I would work with NATO did a lot of exercises with NATO. Basically, what naval control of shipping does is if there's a hot spot in the world where merchant shipping is a threat, and there's choke points, and you know there's a threat to our shipping and other countries' shipping, I would go out there with my team, and we would help coordinate safe passage through choke points. And you know, I'd go out and meet with the masters of freighters and tell them what the situation is and what they needed to do, and just made sure that we got shipping to where it needed to go safely.
Wow. And wait, so tell me, how many years did you do again? I didn't catch that at the beginning.
I did 3 active and I did 10 reserve.
10. Okay, so 13
Yeah.
total. Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
All right, well, thank you for your service. I'm going to come back to you again in a minute. And when we do the second round, it's really going to be quick. It's going to be one quick kind of rapid-fire question for each of you. So if anybody's worried about being at the end, it's not going to make that big of a difference. Let's switch things up to the only person that responded to me that did all his service in the United States American National Guard. And that would be Nate Hall, or Nate Dog, as it says on the screen right now. Nate Dog, what's up, bro?
Hey, what's good?
Hey, everything's good. I missed the chat, but I think Kendra, was she complaining about the picture you sent me?
No, she wasn't complaining. She just didn't know that I picked that photo, so it's a nice surprise for her.
Well, you know what? Now she got to see it along with the rest of us. Tell us about serving in the National Guard in Ohio. And I think I saw, and again, I got to wait for your graphic to come around, but you were in Enduring Freedom, I believe, right?
That is correct. Yeah, I was. So I first joined the Ohio Army National Guard in 2011. Did boot camp in Fort Jackson, South Carolina, and then did my advanced training in Fort Lee, Virginia for 92 Alpha, which is a supply clerk. Right after AIT, I had to prep for a deployment. We got deployed in 2013 to Afghanistan, did 9 months overseas as a supply sergeant. driving around a big 5-ton 5-ton truck getting supplies for our transportation maintenance division. Yeah, just I can speak on the whole hot stuff. Yeah, it was crazy.
I think your Operation Enduring Freedom ended last year when you got married, though. Hey, yo.
Yeah.
How you like that, Kendra? I know I'm Team Kendra, but today and tomorrow I'm Team Nate. Sorry. All right. Nate, thank you for your service. I'm going to ask you to stick around as well, just like everybody else, and we'll come back to you.
Absolutely. Thanks.
All right. Cameron Curtis, by the time I got his information, I was only able to make a quick picture graphic without his info. He sent it along with Javier Vasquez as well. Javier's not with us, but Cameron is. Cameron, welcome back to the show. Thanks for getting me your picture in, and tell everybody about your experience in the Army.
What's going on, everybody? So yeah, I joined just like Eddie. I joined at a young age. I was a junior in high school actually, and the recruiters were sniffing around the lunchroom, and they got me basically at lunchtime to come down and see what they have to offer. So I joined. I enlisted as a 15 Foxtrot, which is Army Aviation. It's basically a aircraft electrician. I did some years of that, and then I got into avionics systems. So I started doing avionics work. Did a tour in Iraq. Spent some time in transitioning through Kuwait. I got plenty of time in the sandbox. Never found the water, but found the sand.
Yeah.
And then pretty much I've been in for 23 years. I actually was supposed to ETS 6 days ago, but due to coronavirus, I decided to stay for a little bit longer because of the job market. But yeah, it's been about 23 years, and I got some chance to do some engine work too and sheet metal. I've been kind of like a jack of all trades fixing aircraft right now.
What kind of aircraft?
So basically any kind of helicopters. I can work on the whole fleet. I even went through and got my license through them, so I can work on anything that flies really.
Okay. One of my favorite, one of my favorite helicopters. So I spent a lot of my time, Robo and I and our friends. We were crash fire rescue, like I mentioned before, and we spent most of our time around helicopters, mostly the bigger ones, CH-53, CH-46s. But we were around Cobras a lot, and in the Gulf, we also had an Apache squadron attached to us in Desert Storm, and the Apaches go out with this other little helicopter that looks like a little ET head on top of it. Do you remember what it's called?
Yeah, that's a OH-58 Delta.
There you go. So we had a squadron of them with us, and I got to tell you, Cobra's still probably my favorite, but man, those Apaches look mean, bro.
Yeah, oh yeah, they definitely are. There's been times where we got hit on the base so many times by mortars where those aircraft are up right away and they're already flying around, and as soon as they get up in the sky, no one wants to shoot us anymore.
Yeah, imagine that, right? Now when you see an Apache or a Cobra coming, exactly.
No.
And then I want to ask you. You sent me a picture of you and Javier. Are you serving with Javier?
Yeah. So I served with Javier. He did 17 years, and he ended up getting out because of medical reasons.
Okay.
But I served alongside him for 17 years. He did supply and logistics. So a lot of the stuff that we needed for parts and stuff, he was able to acquire. And logistics of ordering and managing funds and stuff like that.
Okay. Awesome. It's too bad he couldn't be here, but that's, we get it.
Yeah.
All right. Hey, do me a favor, stick around. Thank you for your service as well. Stick around for the lightning round here in a moment. I believe I only have one person left, and I was trying to save him to the end to give him a break from having to do games today and then having to talk at the beginning of the show. That's none other than Tyler Falk, United States Air Force active duty. Tyler, how you feeling? Do you get your breath back?
Oh, I've got a few liquids in me, maybe an adult beverage or two.
Or 6.
but no, I'm good to go here, Dave.
Okay, awesome. Well, share with everybody. You are active duty Air Force. Tell everybody what you do and how your experience in the Air Force has been so far.
Yeah, so unlike most of the vets here on the panel, yes, hi there. Yes, we are fellow chairman in the Air Force. But No, I've been in the Air Force for about 2 years now. Since October 2nd is when I got off the bus in Lackland Air Force Base in
Lackland,
San
yeah.
Antonio, Texas.
Yep.
And it's just been great. I come from a couple of, my dad's still serving. He's got 34 years in. He's currently a Chief Master Sergeant back home in Minnesota with the Air National Guard. And then a little fun fact about me is Mike Ryan, my player, is actually named after my dad's Chief Master Sergeant.
Oh, wow.
That he was worked with. And there's a great story behind Mike, and I'll kind of abbreviate it that way we can save some time. But what had happened was Mike Ryan was a close family friend of my dad and the rest of my family, so naturally he mentored me and taught me a lot about humility and respect and just going about life the right way. The actual Mike Ryan passed away in the late 2000s of cancer, and really took a huge toll on my dad. But ultimately, after 31 years of service, the legacy of Mike Ryan spurred on my dad to become Chief Master Sergeant, and literally took the office of Chief Master Sergeant of his squadron from Mike Ryan. There hadn't been a Chief Master Sergeant in his squadron since Mike Ryan, so it's very special to my dad. And this having Mike Ryan in the league is one of the ways I'm honoring his legacy.
That's phenomenal.
To go back to me and my Air Force career, I had went to basic in Lackland, and then they shipped me off to Keesler Air Force Base, which is over in Mississippi, to go and become a cyber systems operator. What that basically means is I worked on computers and servers all day. I basically am like I'm basically like law enforcement for the interwebs. I'm one of the few people that say, hey, you can come on the network or you can't come on the network. That's just a little bit about what I do. And then I had picked all northern bases for my dream sheet, Colorado, Washington, D.C. I even picked the UK because I absolutely would love to go see the UK at some point. And I get my results back of, where is my first duty station going to be? I'm going back to Lackland Air Force Base in Texas. Fantastic.
Amazing.
So I'm right back here in San Antonio. The town is amazing. Absolutely love the city. The people are fantastic. And I can't really tell you exactly what I do exactly because
Right.
I'm part of what we call in the business a super secret squirrel squadron.
Yep.
But basically I work on computers all day is what my job description says.
Gotcha. Okay. Yeah, I don't even know why they ask those questions, like where you want to be stationed, because I don't think they listen to them anyway. So it's unless you have some kind of guarantees, it's just you go where we need you. That's it. End of story. I want to know why Kendra Hall got stopped by the MPs today. Were you speeding, Kendra? I'm trying to see what that says. If anybody can put that in there, I'd like to know what Kendra said about by the MPs. Let's do. I want to do it kind of like a lightning round. Give me like 30 seconds to a minute, maybe at the most. I don't want to keep everybody all night. I know even the people here on the panel that are sharing their lives with us have their lives and families too. But what I would like to do is, and I'll start back at the top. I'll start with Alan. Alan, give me kind of why you came into the SFL, and this goes for everybody. You can either tell me why you came into the SFL, or better yet, if you can think of an answer to this one, tell me something about the SFL that either reminds you of being in the service, relates to the service, something along those lines. And Alan, I'll let you start.
Well, I would say I got into the SFL originally because I just like the whole idea of a controllers sport where it's a strategic game of football. I just always liked the idea of the controllers play. Even with the old Xbox games, I like to play where you just pick the play and let the computer run it. So that's really what got me into it.
Mm-hmm.
I really sort of liked about the FL and still do to this today is the diversity that you have. The groups, just like the military, and you say you equate it to the military, you get everybody from all different walks of life, from different regions of the country. And just like the service, where it's like you're all in the service because it's like, hey, it's something you wanted to do or you needed to do for for yourself, and then you find yourself amongst a bunch of different people, even though you may not agree on different things and have again different backgrounds. That's what I really like. As an owner of the Charleston Predators, one of the things is, with the political strife we've had between the political parties and stuff, I've got people that range from the far right and the far left in mentality in my locker room.
Right.
And what's sort of amazing is we're still able to, have civil conversations amongst ourselves. Even though we try to push it to the side because, we just like hanging out and having the SFL experience. And that's the one thing we get to share. So yeah, that's what I like about the SFL.
Awesome.
And where I see it, so.
Okay. All right, Alan, thanks. Jack Lewis, let's go to you. Same question. Something that relates, military to the SFL, or why you joined the SFL?
I think something that definitely relates is kind of what Alan said. You have a bunch of different people from all different kinds of backgrounds coming together and enjoying something, coming from all different groups and all different places and coming to enjoying something together that you watch and communicate, and you have those connections and friendships that you make in the locker room. So I think it's definitely something like the military.
Yeah, I agree with that actually completely. Eric Hammer, what about you?
So, similar to what everybody says, but like all of us here, we have I think we talk on a daily basis. It's just we come from all different breeds of the branches of the military, and we found something that we all enjoy and that we can certainly talk to about. Come share our problems if we have any issues, or just make those connections that we haven't had before. And the Florida locker room has been really great. Just all that experience in there, welcoming a newcomer like me, helped me get hyped on game days, has been great.
Yeah, I think based on what the first few of you said too, this just kind of popped into my head. I can kind of equate being in the SFL almost like being in the military. Like we've got 6 different branches of the military here with us tonight with the National Guard, but we're all part of the same team. Just like we're all playing on different teams in the SFL, but we're all part of the SFL. And I love that kind of camaraderie, not just within each branch or each team, but across all the branches or across the league. So that's actually some really good points. Mr. Pickler, what say you on this question, mister?
Sorry, I had to unmute myself. Yeah, I mean, just the obvious of what the other guys are saying. I mean, it's I mean, I love the brotherhood, and I mean, any of us who serve can't deny, the connection we have to all of our, brothers and sisters who we served with, and that it's a permanent tie. I feel like I've already, established similar connections and bonds with people I've met in the SFL. I've already thought about it, and I'm just like, man, if I left the SFL tomorrow, which I won't be doing, there's guys that I'm still friends with that I'm gonna be hitting up, that I'm gonna be checking on. Same way I do with my old military buddies. So definitely. Back to those guys' points, Alan, with the all walks of life in 50 states. I mean, I used to be proud that I had a booklet where I wanted to, since basic training, I wrote a name, all of like my friends, quote unquote. I call them like my friend book, my connections, because I knew that, we get moved around and stationed in different spots, and I wanted to stay in touch with everybody, and so I would always write like kind of the names and numbers in the home states of all the people that I met. And the fact is, at one point, like 3 years into my military service, I had someone from all 50 states in there, and I thought that was really neat. That that if I would have stayed home and done the same thing as kind of the kids around me, like and my brother and stuff. I mean, they just don't have that experience, and I think kind of that's what esports communities and the Simulation Football League does for us. It gives us the opportunity to meet, learn about people who are from all walks of life, who have different experiences. And the last thing I'll say is that it's like it gives you that that way to disconnect from the civilian world, kind of, and that's a similar thing it does as well that the military did for us. Like it's kind of living in you guys all know that military life is completely different than civilian life, same thing with SFL life. It's different than real life, but we all like to it's kind of a getaway. We all like to kind of live in it and bond in it.
I agree. Completely agree. And by the way, any those of you in the chat talking about Kendra running stop signs, is that why she got stopped by the MPs? I don't know what's going on there, but if we have any MPs on the panel, you might want to pull her over. Eddie Gage, what about the SFL as far as how it relates to being in the military?
Well, I've been playing football since I started. I think when I was 8 years old, I first started playing football, and TJ rags on me on this all the time. But I'm 5'10", and I played a lot of corner and a lot of free safety and strong safety when I was playing football. And one day my coach told me if I was 3 inches taller, I had the potential to get a D1 scholarship. And when he told me that, I just started crying because I didn't want to let football go. It was a big part of my life. I had been playing forever. And so I kind of got sad. And that's when I went to the military. And I played while I was in the military for a while. And then when I gave that up, that's when boxing came calling because I kind of got bored and needed something else to do. So once my career in boxing was over, and once I got out the military, I was in TJ's user controller league, and he told me about the SFL, and I pissed Cam off with this all the time. But when I first came in, he begged me a couple of times. I kept telling him no until I finally told him yes. And back in those days, there was no SFL draft. So when I agreed to come on, he goes, "All right, you're safety for the Baltimore Crabs," and that was all it was.
That's it. That's like it's like the military. This is where you're going.
That's where you're going. I don't care what you put it out on the paper as far as where you want to go. This is where you're going. And so that was that. And yeah, I mean, I love it because of the competition. I've always been competitive in everything I do, whether it's sports, life, work. I'm a competitive person. And I'm glad Ashley's in here to hear this because we go at it all the time, but we have different opinions on things in regards to how we should do things. But I do it because I'm looking out for the best interest of the team in a long-term capacity, not just a problem to fix for today. So Ashley, I love you, and I hope we still cool. But yeah, I mean, I love the camaraderie everyone has here. It's a getaway from life. On game day, on game day, I just get so hyped and excited. And I just love everything about it. I don't know where I would be because I gave up. I used to be in a motorcycle club, and I was away from home a lot. And my wife always got, "Man, you always out there with those motorcycle buddies." And so the SFL kind of took me away from that a lot. And now it's I'm home, but I'm in this damn office all the time, game planning or whatever. But that's your answer, man. I do it because I love the camaraderie, the community with everybody here, interacting with everybody, and of course the competition.
Awesome. All right. Thank you, Eddie. Leonard, you touched earlier already on part of, what the league has done for you personally. I'm guessing you probably got the same thing from the military. Then, so would you relate those two things together for us? I mean, do you feel that same kind of thing in the SFL that you felt in the military?
Yes, I do. In the SFL, it's to me it's real. My avatar is real. The people are real.
Mm-hmm.
They keep me grounded. I'm a little offbeat from Eddie. My boxing career was gonna get me locked up. That but but the other thing is, it's kind of like in the league, everybody on the team, like Louisiana, everybody on the team is trying to move towards the same goal, and that's real neat. They done caught on that I am the old blood of the team because some of my stuff is pretty much out there, and they look at me like, "Huh? What? Huh?" It's the old guy. Something's wrong with him. But anyway, that it's just a lot of fun to connect with these guys, and I know a lot of them are younger than I. But it's fun for me to connect with them because a lot of what I used to be connected with, they're not in my life, and it gives me something to to focus on, to enjoy, and plus that my wife told me if I step foot on the gridiron again in my 60s, she's going to shoot me. But,
well, that's a great incentive.
Yeah, pretty much. Stay off the gridiron.
Awesome. All right, Leonard, thank you for sharing that. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
Let's move on to another retired guy like we talked about before. Twin Screw, you've kind of been able to overlap. I think you might be the only one of everybody we're talking to tonight that was in the military when you joined the SFL, and now you're out of the military and you're still in the SFL. Kind of take me through how you feel the SFL relates to the military.
Well, so first, a ton of great people in the SFL. That's kind of what keeps us all here anyway. But Leonard, I love that dude in the locker room. It's ridiculous what some of the stuff that dude says, but it's all spot on. Love that dude. You know, guys like Gunny. Gunny's always positive, always talking, to the military guys. I mean, you look at everybody in this panel, we all talk to each other pretty much every day.
Yeah.
At one point or another, we're all talking to each other. So that's my thing. And going real quick, I think Thomas had said it. I'm the same way. I got family that's been in every conflict since the Civil War. And so we just kind of go with that. So love those guys. Love all you guys. That's between the guys in Louisiana, fantastic locker room, and all the guys on this panel. That's why I stay. It's still that connection, regardless if you're in or out of the military. It's still the connection that we all always do. And so my last point, Dave, is with your wife and what she does and is doing, especially with Objective Zero and what we did in Louisiana with Stack Up. Many thanks, much thanks, and much love for it.
Yeah, thank you for that, Mike. I really appreciate that. I'm sure she does as well. And thank you for your answer as well. I guess we might as well just stick with the Louisiana theme. It looks like we're running through the whole team right now. If we went to Johnny, and then we went to Leonard, and we went to Mike. We might as well stick with it and go with Robo. Bruce, I already know why you joined the SFL, but tell me how you feel.
Why is that, Dave? Why did I join?
Because I made you.
Actually, you tried, and then I waited like months later.
I know, and then you went behind my back to Louisiana, but we'll talk about that off air. Anyway, that's probably why they made you assistant GM, so I wouldn't steal you next season.
That's job security, man.
Yeah, I know. Here, so, but you know what? Now, you've only been here not quite a full season.
Yeah, I think I joined in August.
But do you feel the sense of camaraderie here in the SFL that you felt in the Marine Corps?
Absolutely. I mean, just like, you and I are friends and all the guys we're still talking to after 30 years.
Mm-hmm.
The Louisiana locker room has been amazing. I'm going to talk about these guys. I mean, Leonard and Johnny and Twin Screw. Let's give it up for Twin Screw. He should be the coach of the year.
Let's go ahead and put that up. Yeah, amazing job.
Yeah. And I feel like I'm forgetting somebody else, and I apologize. But that locker room is amazing. They've welcomed me as a team. They've now welcomed me into the front office in a short amount of time, and I just am grateful for that. I found myself with COVID after being traveling all the time. I travel every week of the year all over the country and really the nation for my job. And with COVID, I've been grounded since March. And I found myself really looking for something to do, and what I found was more than I can handle. No, I'm just kidding. But
well, if I'm involved, bro, come on.
Yeah, no, it's amazing, and I hope to develop even greater friendship. Oh, Leonard, I forgot Leonard. I think.
Oh no, you said him first. You said him first.
Did I?
Yeah.
Okay, but really just. Digging in with these guys as we went through the adversities of the season. We fought through it together. We got to the playoffs. We fought through it together. We made a great run at it. And everybody beware, Louisiana's coming.
Oh, here we go already. All right, Bruce. Thanks for coming on, bro. I appreciate you. Let's go over to Gunny for a second. Gunny, you're now been tagged with the wisest man in the SFL tag. You've got your pearls of wisdoms every week. Everybody loves you. Were you like this in the Marine Corps too? Did everybody love you in the Marine Corps, or is this just an SFL thing?
Actually, to be honest with your question, yes.
And I can.
Yeah, I'm a 5'3" ball of dynamite. When we were doing the sea bag drag with the luggage, they threw me with the luggage.
Oh god, that's awesome! If anybody knows what he's talking about, that's just amazing. Tell me about how much you love the SFL and the camaraderie here.
Well, when I came aboard, and I talked to Cam a couple months ago, I said, would I ever imagine I'd find a whole bunch of 50-year-olds in the SFL, my age group? Yes. Would I find a whole bunch of jarheads to relate to? The answer is still yes. So there you have it. There's a whole bunch of friendships and camaraderie that we've been in each other's footsteps, but we never even knew it until we came to the SFL.
Yeah. I see a lot of correlation between those two. Thank you, Gunny. Thomas, how about you, bro? I think you already knew somebody in the SFL, right? You have a friend that was already here, one of the broadcasters or something. So that's probably why you joined, I'm guessing.
Yeah, I actually got him on your show a couple times. The broadcasting director, Chris Curtis, he's actually been my best friend since I was 6 years old. I saw one of his streams when he was doing the broadcast on his Facebook when he shared it. I watched that and I messaged him and I was just like, hey, man, what's this? And he told me about it and I started getting into it. And when I joined, I was a little bit lost at first, to be honest with you. And then when I started getting into the whole like draft process, what really got me into it, honestly, was when I started talking to Gunny and getting in the veterans server, talking to some of the veterans. And then after I started talking to Gunny and when Gunny ended up signing with you guys in free agency, then he brought me up to you guys, to you, to Charles and all of that. And honestly, what really got me committed to the league was just talking to all you guys, seeing all the veterans you guys put together there in Lone Star. And I think what really got me committed to the league, honestly, was talking with you guys and playing for Lone Star.
Awesome. Yeah. And again, I see the seems like a constant theme through all these answers from everybody. Thanks, Thomas. Appreciate that. Let's go to my boss here, Charles. You were here before I was, and I know you. I don't know how many seasons before. I know you were with Atlanta before you went to Vancouver and what have you. But how/why did you join? And do you agree with everybody that's been talking about the correlation between the military and the SFL?
Oh yeah, most definitely. There's not much I can add new that wasn't already said. I mean, I came in getting off a job where I was on the road a lot. All week, coming home on the weekends, and got a job working from home. And my wife actually came to me and she goes, you got to get a hobby or something.
You're around the house too much now. Exactly.
She said, yeah, you need to start doing something. And so I did simulation football years and years ago. And it's funny. I just typed it in YouTube and one of the videos, one of the games popped up. And started watching that and reached out to Cam, and Cam literally called me in like 5 minutes because he lived down there at the time. He lived down the road from me, and one thing led to another. And I mean, it's been great, the camaraderie. But the one thing I would add that hasn't been said yet that's great about the SFL is all the spectacular Lone Star Glory gear in Sector 6. So I'll end with that.
Dude, you and Robo both. I mean, you got to end it on a plug in your team. I love that. All right. And I mean, we do have the American colors. So for today and tomorrow, I think Lone Star is the gear to buy. I agree with you. Charles, thanks again. Appreciate you.
Yeah.
Who's next? I think Nate was next. Nate, you've only been here for a minute, right? And so tell us how you found it, how you found the SFL, why you joined, and do you agree with the theme of the evening so far?
Yeah, I agree with the whole theme of the camaraderie. But the reason I joined, and I think I haven't heard this yet from the others, kind of the same reason I joined the military to begin with, is just to be something bigger than myself, to make an impact, but also at the same time help the team out towards a bigger goal in mind. So it's just something awesome to be a part of. Met a lot of great people, both in the minors and the major leagues. Twin Screw, among others, we got brought up in the system together, kind of inaugural champs of Madison Lynx, go
Right.
Lynx.
Right.
And yeah, the camaraderie ever since then has been great throughout, and I just couldn't ask for a better experience since joining.
Awesome. Thank you for that.
Can I set the record straight on this whole MP?
I would know. I actually went back and read it while some people were talking. So it's.
Yeah.
I know she didn't run a stop sign or whatever. She just got asked for
Yeah.
ID or whatever. It's not a big deal. It's hilarious though.
Cool.
It's all right. Let's see. Cam Curtis. Same question to you. Now, something I meant to ask you before, and I think you said about Javier. But how long have you?
Yes.
How long have you been in the Army?
I've been in the Army 23 years now.
23.
And I just signed up for one more year. Yeah.
You don't sound old enough to be in the Army for 23 years old. That picture you sent me has got to be from 23 years ago, right?
No. I don't have a lot of pictures from the military because of OPSEC and stuff like that, and they don't want it on social media.
Right.
But that was from 2011-12 time frame, so that was about 8 years ago.
Wow. Okay. Well, you're aging well, bro.
Yeah, I've always looked kind of young. I think it's the cold in the north.
Gotcha. Same question to you, and then I think that the last person will be Tyler before we get to Cam. Cam just jumped on everybody. We're going to do the After Dark portion with Cam. It won't take too long. He's just going to kind of wrap up the parts that he wasn't able to do on the show the other night. But Cameron Curtis, and every time I have you two on the show, you always talk close together. I got to be careful who I'm talking to here. Cameron Curtis, go ahead and just kind of tell us, what everybody else has been telling us about either why you joined or how you feel about how the SFL relates to being in the military.
So the way I feel it relates, I would have to say, is along the line of what Alan and Jack were already talking about and a few others. Being in the military and joining in, you're in an organization where everyone's working towards a common goal and everyone is, all things aside, race, religion, all that, none of that matters. You're getting completely different people that are all put together, and it's like, here, get to know each other, and that's what you get with the SFL too. So I think the community, I think it's a very easy transition for people who've been a soldier before.
Yeah. Oh, Cam, did we lose you?
No, I'm here.
Okay, say that.
Sometimes I just randomly stop. So I think it's an easy transition for if you've been a soldier and you've been in the situation where you're meeting people from all walks of life. I think you get that in the SFL too.
Yeah, I agree with that as well. All right, Tyler Falk, you've got the last word on this tonight. And I know you're brand new, so I think it's great that we started with Alan, who's been here for a while, and we're wrapping up with you, who just got here. Tell us about how you feel about the SFL relating to the military, and let us know how or why you joined.
Yeah, I mean, compared to pretty much everybody here on the panel, I'm the newest.
You're the boot.
Yeah, right. And I am surrounded by some amazing people here, and especially here on the panel. The life experiences that I'll never be able to experience just because of the timing and all of that. So I tip my hat. I salute you all for what you've done, and for a couple of you what you're continuing to do. Thank you all from my heart for what you've done, especially during times of strife and turmoil in the world. I know it's I'm fairly new, and so it's a little harder for me to say. I've been on multiple deployments, I've seen a lot of things, but for me, I have to piggyback off of everybody and say that the camaraderie that the military has is what we have here in the SFL. And just take the SFLm, which I'm in, for example. We all want everybody to succeed in everything that we do in the SFLm, and there's so many great people that are just open and willing to sit down have a conversation with you and see how you're doing. And that's the same thing in the military. We want everyone to succeed. We want everyone to, we don't want to leave a man behind. And I really can't express how much that, the SFL, this thing that you're doing here, Dave, what other league out there can do something like this of what you're doing for us vets and for yourself? It's quite amazing. I just want to plug in just one more little history tidbit that tomorrow's not only Veterans Day, but it's also the 102nd anniversary of the ending of World War One, and that has a lot of history there with Veterans Day as well. But
wow,
no, just want to say thanks again, Dave, for having me on, and hoorah Marines, and everyone here on the panel, everyone watching, and to all vets. Thank you for everything you've done for our country.
Yeah, thank you, bro. Thank you for serving our country. Thank you for all the help you're giving the SFL and the show as well. We're going to go right into our After Dark portion. It's not going to take long. It'll be only a few minutes. I asked Cam to come back on because on Thursday we weren't able to get, because I bit off way more than I could chew. I tried to cram 22 teams into one show. I will never do that again. I should have split it up, but Cam had to run, so I want to bring him back in and give us just 30 seconds to a minute on the handful of teams that are left, and then I'll wrap up the show. I'll do the thanks to everybody and wrap up the show and have some words about Veterans Day tomorrow. Cam, thanks for coming back on and coming on so late. I appreciate it.
Thank you, Dave. Shout out to my pops. 20 years in the United States Army. I think he did 3 tours in Iraq and Afghanistan. Has been guarding some weaponry at one of the largest ammunition plants in the country for 11 years. So happy Veterans Day to him as well, and all of the vets on this show today and around the league.
Awesome. Thank you for that. So the other night we were doing the show, we were recapping each team. I was asking you to give us about 30 seconds on each team after the recappers finished. We left off on Atlanta. The next team would be Lone Star. So give me 30 seconds on Lone Star's season in season 15.
Yeah, what else you got?
That's it. No, actually, I meant 30. I'm sorry, I meant 30 minutes. Sorry.
Oh man. Well, I think Lone Star kept expectations low. I think at the start of the season, it kind of felt like, well, Lone Star they were going to be a pretty good defensive team, and their offense is kind of finding its way. Boy, did they really build an identity down the stretch. And it was a team that if it just would have been a different matchup, maybe the postseason would have been a little bit different. But Florida posed some problems. Mighty knows how to get rid of the ball quicker than anybody else, I think, when he needs to. And that neutralized some things and caused some problems. But Lone Star certainly should be proud of that first season and really turning a franchise in turmoil around, and that's what they were brought in to do.
Awesome. Yeah, I think we're very proud of the job that we did at Lone Star. So you mentioned Florida. Let's talk about them for a second.
Well, the Storm looked like, they were 0-3.
Yeah.
It looked rough, especially that game against Jacksonville, where they just looked like a shell of their former self, trying to have a semblance of a passing offense, and they just could not get it together. But I think Florida got tired of not being in playoff conversation, and they really did some soul searching down the stretch, very similar to Lone Star, won some pivotal, critical games, and just couldn't stop the turnovers. If they just could have found a way to stop the turnovers, I think they probably would have even saw more success. The turnovers bit them this year, it felt like.
Yeah, for sure. A team that kind of had another really interesting season. Started off weird, won some big games, lost some games they weren't expected to, was Vancouver. They ended up with, I believe it was the 7th seed in the playoffs, but they only win, I think it was a 7-5. Tell me about Vancouver.
Yeah, another team that we were kind of remember we were talking about on the show about teams that, won some games that they shouldn't have won and then lost some games that they
Mhm.
shouldn't have lost. Well, that was the exact opposite of Vancouver. Vancouver just could not get a signature win. They just came up short and not in blowouts, in really tight games against quality playoff opponents. They lost to Sioux Falls by 4. They lost to Louisiana by 8. They lost to Mexico City by 7. They lost to Jacksonville by 2. I mean, what a season it could have been if they just could have pulled out 1, 2, 3 of those.
Right.
But Vancouver was a good squad. They took care of business against the teams that they needed to take care of business of. 49 against Arizona, 76 against Houston. I mean, their offense was explosive as hell down the stretch, and it wasn't their offense that cost them in the playoffs. It was that defense that just could not get off the field.
Speaking of that, Jacksonville seemed like a lock in that top 4 or 5 seed, and then just all. I mean, week by week, I think they were at the 3, then they dropped to the 4, then they dropped to the 5, and then I think they ended up the 6. Right? I mean, tell me about Jacksonville.
Yeah, they started 2-0. Remember that weird stretch where they got blown out by Queen City in Arizona?
Mm-hmm.
And we were like, what is going on over there? Right? I mean, on the road. And then they win back-to-back road games at Charleston and at Atlanta. And you're like, okay.
Here they are.
Jacksonville's back. And then they had that crazy game against Louisiana. That just crazy game where Louisiana came out totally unconventional. They get a huge injury to Rain Rie in the slot. It jumbles up the defensive backfield. Receivers are running open all over the place, and it was just right place, right time for the Revolution. After that game, they caught Florida in a buzzsaw. And then from there, they just kind of never got consistent. If you watch the tape back in that Sioux Falls game, Jacksonville put together a ballsy game plan, and it was either going to work really well or it wasn't going to work at all. And it just didn't work at all. They took a stab. It didn't work. We'll see them again. But they're just like Sioux Falls. They're just like Baltimore this season, where been here a long time and they don't got one. And it starts to become personal.
Right.
For teams, after all these years and all these years making the playoffs, at some point, Jacksonville's going to get tired of being the 5 seed.
Yeah.
And, maybe we'll see him in the title game again.
Maybe. Who I think is probably one of the most overachieving teams last season, and that's no disrespect to Ramos, but, in the offseason, through the draft and everything, with their free agents, with Ray leaving, we're not having a running back, trying to move Phoenix over. They didn't get a good draft grade and all that, and then Mexico City ends up being the 5 seed in the playoffs. Unbelievable. I think they were the most overachieving team of the season.
Yeah, they're in the running for sure, Dave. I think the emergence of Phoenix Jones down the stretch really helped them, but at the same time, it also masked a big problem, which was, they faced a lot of 3rd and 8 pluses, and they just couldn't convert. They just didn't have enough variety in that passing game. And Mike Daggs was so prolific that the other receivers, teams just weren't really worried about him, and it just felt like Mexico City did so much to overachieve that it was almost like some of the things that they've done really well in the past kind of wasn't really a focus, right? Because they were working on so many other projects. I think this team just had so many other projects that they just didn't have enough gas in the tank. Because in that Baltimore game, I mean, you want to talk about a team that has another team's number? Baltimore has Mexico City's number, and that's another playoff matchup. That's just a bad draw.
Yeah,
that's just a bad draw. They haven't beaten They haven't beaten TJ since August 2018. It's been a long time.
Wow, that is a really long time. All right, let's get into the final four here. Louisiana fighting for that number one spot all season long. Obviously, everybody knows about what happened. Twin Screw comes in, leads them down the stretch. They come so close, but they just fall short of the championship game. Tell me about Louisiana's season.
Yeah, we kind of talked about it a little bit when we touched on. I think it was in the championship post game, or maybe it was a show going into the championship game. You know, Louisiana didn't lose that. They didn't lose that game against Sioux Falls. Sioux Falls took it from them.
Yeah.
With that incredible defensive game plan, and Louisiana had kind of an interesting season down the stretch. I would argue one of the most interesting seasons down the stretch because they that Fort Worth game where they lost at home. After that, coming off of the big win against Jacksonville, this offense was humming. They scored 35 against the champs, 45 against Houston, 48 against Jacksonville, and then Fort Worth comes and stuns them.
Yeah.
And it almost kind of like it felt a little wobbly. Portland had the lead at the half. Then they go to Florida. Again, another team that was just so unfortunate to meet Florida at the end, running into a storm buzzsaw as Mighty tried to make the playoffs. Then Reggie Streeter has the game. That was an unbelievable game. The number one play of the season, right? That sick cutback was just unbelievable. And then what Louisiana proved they could do in the semifinals was they can play any game. They can play you in a shootout, and they can play you in a defensive slugfest. And that's what they did against Sioux Falls. We talk about Sioux Falls defense, but in that game, Louisiana held Sioux Falls' offense, despite Sioux Falls having no turnovers, right? They held Sioux Falls to just over 300 yards of offense. Tyree only had 11 completions. Hart got plenty of carries. They kept him somewhat in check. He had one long run. Everything else was about 4 yards a carry. And they showed that they could play that game too. So, if Louisiana, it was a wild roller coaster. They made the semis. Now let's see what they can do with, if I was them, all I'd want is just to be stable. Just leave us alone.
Yeah.
Leave us alone. We're gonna quietly sit here and do our work, and we're gonna go win ball games. And that's what I expect to see out of Louisiana in season 16. And it was one hell of a ride.
It really was.
I gotta tell you, it was one hell of a ride.
It really was. Which brings me to the team that everybody thought Louisiana would probably end up playing in the championship. Denver. Denver seemed to have, they were in pole position the whole season with only one game to go and couldn't finish.
Yeah, which isn't Denver's MO.
Right.
Denver finishes. They almost beat Alaska back in the day, season 12, to dethrone them. Then they won it again in season 13. Jeremy takes off season 14, comes back season 15, and then here they are, gangbusters again. So Denver does not have a past where they just come up shorter than expected, right?
Right.
And sometimes I think it was the same thing. I don't think Denver lost that game. I think Baltimore came in there and they took it. Their offensive game plan in that game was perfect. And Jeremy said so. He told him after the game, like, I can't, what am I supposed to do? It was immaculate what Baltimore did in the snow in that game. I think they punted once and they had a pick, I think, on the first drive, something like that. And other than that, they scored. Every time they scored 8 times in that game. You only get so many possessions. And that's the heart of a championship team right there. And Denver, I think that it's tough to be the favorite in
Yeah.
a competitive league because how are you supposed to deviate from a game plan that's been so good? And it puts you in a bad position because if you go out there and you try something new, you could fall on your face. And if nobody's been able to stop you up to this point, then why do it? Right. And it's the same. It reminds me so much of season 7 when the undefeated Louisville Wolfpack hosted T-Pat's Minneapolis Maulers. They were at home in the championship game and they lost. Why should they have changed anything? They didn't. Nobody stopped us all season long. We're going to go win the title, and then they didn't.
And then they did.
So it was a really tough situation for Denver to be in, and they needed to be beaten by a better team, and they were that day.
Well, speaking of, actually, let's go to Sioux Falls first, obviously. The championship game, 2 years in a row, 2 heartbreaks. Take me through their season, and what are they going to need to do to get over that hump next season?
Well, it's interesting for Sioux Falls. In the semifinals against Queen City in season 14, they ran the ball 44 times against Queen City in the semis that they won, advanced to the title game, and then in the title game, they ran the ball 28 times. They passed 40 times. In the semifinals against Louisiana this season, they ran the ball 38 times, passed 17 times. Against Baltimore, the Sioux Falls Sparrows ran the ball 22 times and passed 39 times. Both championship games, they just haven't played their game. Or they haven't been able to play their game.
Right.
They haven't been the aggressor. They've been the chaser. And it was almost in some ways it was like deja vu. In others, it was a totally different game, obviously. But in that respect, it just felt like, where is Sioux Falls today? And so I wonder how they're going to approach this offseason. Are they going to double down, or are they going to figure out or realize we have to win a championship? We just have to improve on Julian Tyree's efficiency, because eventually we're going to need him, and we're going to need him to step up and make monumental plays. And recently, he just hasn't been that guy. No touchdowns, 2 picks, 59% completion. He just hasn't been that guy. And they're either going to say, we need him to be that guy, and you're going to see a different type of Sioux Falls, or you're going to see him double down and say, we're going to run the crap out of this. And when we get back there, we are going to play our game and make sure that we do.
Well, let's see. We'll see what they do. I think they have what it takes to get back there, obviously. But here's the thing. Let's talk about the champs for a second. They're the only ones who dealt Denver, the number 1 seed, a regular season loss. They beat them in the playoffs, and then they beat this great Sioux Falls team that we just talked about to win the championship, all while splitting time at quarterback half the season at a time and losing a defender and their coach during the season.
Yeah. Wild.
Crazy.
They should not
have been in the championship game. When you say it like that, they shouldn't have been there. You're right.
They shouldn't have been there. Who'd they lose to this year? Well, they lost to Sioux Falls by 3, took care of that, right? Became the second team in SFL history to win a rematch that they lost in the regular season in the title game. They lost to Louisiana by 12. They lost to Atlanta by 3.
By 3, first game.
That's who they lost to. So they lost to the defending champs on opening night. That's a rough game.
Yeah.
That's always a rough draw because you don't know what you're getting. And they're a good team, and you're on the road, right? That's rough. Sorry to the team who I know is playing Baltimore on opening night.
Right.
Baltimore loses that game by 3. That's a rough game. They lose to Louisiana by 12. Now, while Louisiana's not full strength, they are close to full strength because it happened in week 6, right? So it is still early in the season, But Baltimore is on the road. They pass 49 times, but they don't really get anything big down the field. T-Roy Gaines gets shut down. Reggie Streeter has a Reggie Streeter day, and Pickler is efficient. No turnovers. They only get 1 sack. They don't really have the pressure. Chase Earl has 119 yards, and Louisiana's got enough offensive firepower. But at the end of the day, Baltimore didn't have to play Louisiana again. They got to play Denver again and beat them a second time. And they were clutch. 1-5, London. 1-8, Sioux Falls. 1-3, Denver. 1-5, Charleston. They could have easily been in the wild card. Wouldn't that have been crazy? Yeah. A Baltimore team in the wild card. They showed grit. They were well coached, extremely well coached. And you can tell. You don't go to Denver and put up 44, give up 34, and then go to Sioux Falls and play a completely different game. They give up 19. You don't just give up 34 to one offense and 12, because remember, Sioux Falls had a pick 6, and 12 to another. That's crazy, right? That's crazy. From one week to the next, that is impeccable coaching. Impeccable coaching. And that's why they won the title, because that coaching staff, that was some of the best coaching on both sides of the ball that I've seen. They dominated Mexico City in 2 meetings. They crushed St. Louis. Not a bad team, but on the road. They didn't even – St. Louis wasn't even near their level. They dominated Arizona late in the season. They dominated Houston, a playoff team that gave Jacksonville all sorts of trouble, right? They put teams away emphatically. And it was, they were the best team. They were the champs at the end of the day. And it's always a beauty to watch a team. Atlanta last season, Dave, you were there.
Yep.
Felt like a team of destiny.
Yeah, we did feel like that. Yeah, I agree.
They couldn't be stopped. There was no answers. And it just kind of felt like that down the stretch with Baltimore, where it's just like, oh my God, does this team ever do anything wrong anymore? So that's
just a quick yes or no, and then I'm going to wrap this up. Is Baltimore the favorite to win it next season?
They have to be.
I know we've got re-signing, free agency, draft, whatever, blah, 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 but they're probably going to have high retention coming off a championship season. So they've got to be the favorite, right?
Well, but see, even if they don't, they just proved that it doesn't matter to them because they just won on a season full of turmoil, So even if they don't retain, even if they don't,
it almost doesn't even matter.
Right. Yeah, so it's like that's why I'm almost comfortable in saying, look, they have found look at them. You saw the message about T-Pat being OC. Well, we were number 3 on offense, but that's 2 spots.
That
less
wasn't
than
good
what we should
enough.
be.
That wasn't good enough.
Right. And so it's like, but every season's different. Atlanta knows that better than everybody. Sometimes it just doesn't click. Where's, who do you play when they're hot? Who do you play when they're cold? You never know how it's going to go. Or all the teams you play that weren't playoff teams last season, all of a sudden really good. And now your schedule's like some crazy gauntlet. You're already playing a tough schedule to begin with. You never know. But because of what they did in a season full of change, even if they bring everybody back, they're undoubtedly the favorites. But even if they can't, who's to say, right?
Right. Absolutely. All right. Well, Cam, thanks for coming on and finishing up these recaps so we didn't leave any teams out. I appreciate you staying up late and coming on.
Yes, sir. Thank you for everything you do for everybody.
Oh, no, my pleasure. And then let me also, Alan, are you still with us? I know we had to lose a couple people. A couple people had kids or whatever. Alan, I just wanted to say thank you for your service and thank you for coming on the show tonight.
No, man. Appreciate it. So thank you for yours, man, and for bringing everybody on and showcasing veterans.
Yeah, I think
I really appreciate it.
I think we should do this every year. So
Okay, I'll be here next.
All right, we'll see you next year. Robo, you still with us?
Yep, I'm here.
Hey, thank you for your service, bro. Thanks for your 30-year friendship, and thanks for being on the show tonight.
Yeah, thanks, Dave. Happy birthday to the Marines and the upcoming Veterans Day.
Yep, I agree. Cam Curtis, you still with us?
Yes, I am.
Hey, thank you for your continued service. Even though someone in the chat somewhere said 20-something years with the wrong branch, which was really funny. But thank you for your service, and thank you for being on the show tonight, bro.
Thank you for your appreciation of us.
Who's next? Charles. You know what? Let's skip Charles. No, I'm just playing. Hey, Charles, you still with us?
Yep.
All right. Hey, thank you for your service and for coming on the show tonight. And thank you to your wife for finally getting me that picture.
Yeah, it was hard.
Nothing like putting me under the
thank
gun
you for
at the
everything
last
you do in the league and the show and bringing the vets together. It's great, and thanks to your wife for everything she does. And I'm blessed to have you on our team.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Eddie Gage, you still with us, bro?
I am here, sir.
All right. I want to thank you for your service to our country, and thank you for being on the show tonight. And you know what? And thanks for being a regular on the show all season, too.
Thank you, and I look forward to all the free meals I'm going to get tomorrow for being a veteran.
There you go. There you go. Gunny, what can I say? You are a staple of the show. You're a league. Thank you for all of your service to both your country and to this league and to this show.
Happy birthday, Dave. Happy birthday, Marines. Happy Veterans Day to everyone else.
Awesome. Thank you, Gunny. Johnny, you still with us?
I am.
Hey, thank you for your service in the Army to our country, and thanks for being on the show. And thanks for helping me get my start. You know, it's your fault I can't shut up now.
I know, right, man? I love being able to listen and not having to talk sometimes. So,
you just gave Twitter feed info material for everybody.
Man, well, no, but honestly, no, you're a natural at it, just like I told you you would be, and you're killing it. But now, thank you for your service, Dave. I want to give a thanks to all of the my brothers and sister veteran out there, and go on and celebrate tomorrow, also want to give a special thanks to everyone who helped us with the Stack Up fundraiser. It was a great season, and it wasn't just players on our team who were contributing, but we also had friends, families, fans, random people tossing in a couple bucks here and there, and we ended up raising over $1,400 this season.
That's awesome.
So yeah, definitely want to give a thanks to everyone who helped us out there. Watch the Army Navy game coming up in December. Go Army for the first time ever. It's going to be played at first time since World War II. Because of COVID, they're going to be playing it at West Point.
Wow.
So that will be a unique and fun game to watch. Go Army. Hua, Revolution for Life. Thanks for having me, Dave.
All right, Johnny. Thank you, bro. Leonard, you still with us?
Yes, Dave, I'm still here.
Hey, I just wanted to thank you for your many, many years of service to this country, and I really, truly appreciate you coming on the show tonight.
I want to thank you for your service. Thank you for having me. They won't be guaranteed I'll be able to find my way back to do this again.
We'll get you back, bro. Don't worry about it. We'll get you back. We'll get you back.
Okay.
Let me see. Who's next? Nate Dogg, you with us still?
Yo.
All right. Hey, Nate, thank you very much for your service to our country. Thanks for being on the show tonight, and thanks for being on the show in the past as well.
Hey, if you want me on the show, I'm here anytime. You know where to find me. But thanks for having us on the show tonight. It's an awesome experience. And thank you to the fellow veterans that are out there and enjoy tomorrow and celebrate.
Awesome. Thank you again. Thomas, you still with us?
Yep.
I know we're keeping you up late, bro. But thank you for being on the show tonight. Thank you for your service to our country. Thanks for all you do for our show. And I mean, you're here almost every single show, so I really appreciate you, and so thank you for everything you do.
Definitely, and thank you, Dave. I do want to throw a shout out to Ashley Jackson for that fantastic performance of the
the national anthem.
national anthem. That was amazing. And I also want to throw a call out to Gunny. I want to hear Gunny sing the Marine Corps hymn really, really badly.
Ooh, we might have to make that happen. We'll see if we can do that. Twin Screw, you still with us?
Dave Axis, my man.
What's up, Mike? Thank you for your nearly 3 decades of service to your country. Thanks for all you do for the SFL. Thanks for everything you've been doing for the show here. I truly appreciate everything.
Hey, I appreciate it, man. And hey, you're one of the best guys I know in the Marine Corps. You know, the ladies' department of the Navy. I appreciate that.
Wait, you know that's not right? You know it's
it's
backwards. You know that they say the Marine Corps Department of the Navy, and we always say the men's department. You know
That's
that.
right.
You know
so
that.
I beat you to it. That's why.
Nice. All right.
I appreciate it, bro.
All right, no worries. And then it looks like Tyler. Actually, Tyler, before you speak, I want to say a couple more things. Ivory Irvin sent his information, but he wasn't able to be on the air, so I want to thank him for sending that. Jack Lewis and Eric Hammer both had to leave a little while ago with kids and what have you. I want to thank them for their service and for coming on the show tonight. We also lost... Oh, no, maybe that's it. Just those two. And I also want to throw a quick shout out. So, Tyler, bear with me for 1 second, bro. I want to see if I can find it. I got to pull it up. Somebody was asking about the app that Lisa works with. It's Objective Zero. So first of all, I want to thank Lisa, my lovely wife, for coming on tonight and for talking about this. And then for whoever asked the question in chat, I just threw it up on the screen again. It's objectivezero.org is the website, or Objective Zero app is the app. So there you go for that. And again, Lisa, thanks for coming on, sweetie. I love you. Appreciate all you do for veterans. Let me get back over to this other screen real quick. Oop, that's not it. There we go. All right, Tyler, you get the last word again. I wanted to just say thank you for your service, your continued service to this country. Thanks for what you're doing in the broadcasting, the SFL minor league stuff, and thanks for everything you've been doing for our show.
Oh, thank you, Dave. I really do appreciate it, and thank you for your service and continued service outside of traditional military service to both you and your wife. And thank you to all the vets here on the panel and watching back at home or wherever you might be. It's just an honor to be here in the SFL, an honor to be on your show.
Thank you, bro. Appreciate that. Thank you to everybody in the chat for listening. Another long show, but I think tonight was more than worth it. I mean, when it comes to veterans and military peeps, I could do a 3 or 4 hour show and not even bat an eye. So everybody that's in the chat tonight, you guys kept the numbers up. You stayed engaged. I really appreciate you supporting not just my show, but I appreciate you supporting all the veterans that are in the SFL. Last thing I wanted to mention before I sign off, this is the whole reason why, and I don't know if anybody's asked, or maybe you've never even wondered, this is the entire reason why my show colors are red, white, and blue. It's for this country. It's for the people who serve this country. And I just wanted to be patriotic with my show in as many ways as I could. And that's why the entire color scheme of Axis Live is red, white, and blue. So even in case you were wondering, or even in case you weren't wondering, guess what? Now you know, you know. All right, we will be back here Thursday. It'll be a shorter show. We'll get back into normal things on Thursday, talking about the minor league. We will be on right after the schedule release show. So we were going to have lots to talk about that night, about all the schedules and how bad Cam is trying to screw over certain teams. So yeah, that's what I said. All right. Thank you, everybody, for being on, all the panelists. Thank you for everybody listening to the show. I appreciate everyone. Thank you for everyone's service. Enjoy your Veterans Day tomorrow. I will see you back here 9 p.m. on Twitch on Thursday. Have a glorious night, and I will see you at the tees. And Eddie Gage, you want to give us something?
Sure, why not? Arizona, I love y'all. Thanks for coming. Good night. Drive home safely.